Today's guest has been a Lean Six Sigma practitioner in a variety of settings since 1999. He is an active member of the American Society for Quality, and his first book, Six Sigma Green Belt Round 2, is still to date since its publication in 2011, a major reference material used by Six Sigma practitioners for data analysis and project management. I'm honored to have you around. Welcome, Tracy. Tracy, thank you for joining me today. And the first question I have is, how can Six Sigma prepare leaders to navigate uncertainty with confidence?
Thanks, Raleigh. It's really important, as everyone will tell you, as anyone will tell you, it's important to make data-driven decisions, right? Not just reactions, not just the gut feel decisions. But then, and that's wonderful advice. It's terrific, it's excellent guidance. But how? How do we do that?
Yeah,
And in the Six Sigma methodology, obviously there's a lot of important data analysis techniques. And we have organizations where I have worked or where I have consulted that will say, yes, we make data-driven decisions. When we see a performance metric move in the wrong direction, we make adjustments. But that can be a problem. That can actually be a trap door. If you overreact to one data point, for example, if in a given month, the average customer satisfaction or profitability or some other key performance metric drops lower than it was the previous month, many managers will say, I want a reason why. I want to understand the reason why that happened. And they'll say, make me a PowerPoint slideshow about why the number was, lower this month than last month. But it really is possible to overreact. What we learn through Six Sigma is about variation and how there's inherent variation in every process. Sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes it's a little lower. We'd love for it to be consistent. Can't make any promises. I can't
yeah,
make any.
that's
Okay.
fine, Tracy.
Well, okay. But
We were in that variation, something higher or lower, I guess.
yes, we would love for it to be consistent, but there's going to be variation. There are variables involved. Some variables we can control, some variables we cannot. Now, I want to add perspective, and I'm sure that you have a lot of subject matter experts who will add color and talk about things like senior management support,
Mhm.
running Kaizen workshops. That's obviously very important. Finding allies in an organization who can help you to generate small wins and then be able to grow from there. Those are really important bits. But on the data side, I would like to add two things. One is that in the old days, when I first started, when you and I first started as Six Sigma practitioners, Raleigh, data collection was manual a lot of times. You'd have to sit with a check sheet and collect data. So you didn't want to stress anybody by having to collect data for too long. You'd say, okay, collect this data for 2 weeks so I can analyze it, right? That was a round number. But now data collection is cheap. Everything there's everything is connected. We're getting scans, we're getting data. We have rich data, so we can analyze large data sets instantly with the statistical analytical software packages that we have and how everything is, all the data are being collected through ERPs and EHRs and all these other systems. So to conduct a hypothesis test is not laborious anymore. It's a click of a mouse. But it can also be overused. And in search of a good p-value, right? In search of something that's significant, we can manipulate and distort the data. What I want to suggest is the confidence interval. And it's not a very tricky calculation, but a confidence interval will tell you what range of numbers you can expect, not a specific number. And it will allow a bit of a tolerance for numbers that drop in a given month, as long as they behave over time. So a confidence interval calculation involving, the point estimate and a standard error uh, will really soften the impact of any one stray data point. So I want to encourage the use of confidence intervals, which can be used in any type proportions and means and variation. So that's a good way to look at data over time. And even at the end of the month, saying, okay, there were no real crazy points too high or too low. That's one thing. But initially, the question that I asked a second ago was, yeah, we want to make data-driven decisions. And yes, there are variables, some of which we can control and some that we cannot. But where do I find those variables? And the tool, the statistical tool and the quality tool that I don't think gets enough love is the SIPOC. The SIPOC, which is a tool that identifies your process steps in order, the outputs, the P and the O, the outputs of those, the measurable outputs of those process steps, the customers for each of them, because for every output there is a customer, desired or undesired. And then on the left side are the inputs, everything, all the materials and information and activities that are required to execute those process steps. And at the beginning is the S, the all of those and to make a comprehensive list, not just a quick one. I need the paper, I need the pencil, I need the whatever. Like, what are the levels? What are the differences? What are the values associated with those inputs? And what are the possible ranges of outcomes, the good and the bad outcomes from this process in the O column? And SIPOC can really help you identify what are the variables that I need to be tracking? What are the inputs, especially the input variables? What input variables lead to success so I can replicate those? And what input and sources and process failure so I can control them and prevent failure. So I would love to talk, at length. There are resources, many of them, some of which have been written, by you and me, about, how to build a good SIPOC, how to calculate those confidence intervals, how to take some of the pressure off your team when numbers aren't perfect, because I'll say it one final time, there's variation in every process, and it's not always going to work up, 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 up. Sometimes the numbers will drop. We just have to make sure that they're behaving over time.
Very enlightening, Tracy, especially when you mentioned SIPOC. I remember every time I talk to people who are studying Six Sigma, if we were cops, then SIPOC would be their weapon, right? It's their number one weapon aside from the histogram, etc. All right.